another episode of Beachside Banter with B. I'm here today with Troy Hadeed, and we are going to talk all about Trinidad and Tobago. And I am super excited because this is one of those islands that I've definitely wanted to learn about for a long time, but I really don't know anything about it. So, yeah, Troy, go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're at, who you are, and what you're looking for.
My name is Troy, and I'm coming to you from Trinidad in our yoga studio, my little office. So I've lived here my whole life. I was born here, and I did quite a bit of traveling when I was school in Florida, in Tampa, University of Tampa, and I've been teaching yoga for the last 15 years and change. I just released my first book last year, and then many more. And
That's so cool.
Yeah, I think in a nutshell, my whole life I've been trying to excavate the human experience from a really young age, and I just hope that my life in some way can help us all remind what it means to love, including myself.
Yes,
and help connect people to a deeper relationship to divine in some way. I mean, that's what I would like to believe. Anything I do, I would like to believe it does a little bit of that in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you could make a difference in anybody's life, I feel like that's a huge accomplishment. So I love what you stand for, and definitely love what you're trying to accomplish with that. If everybody just took a little bit more time, a little bit more patience with the people that are around them, and just, put themselves in their shoes and was like a little bit more empathetic, I think that the world would be a whole lot better of a place. But we'll see if we ever get to that point.
I think we will. I have absolute faith. Yeah.
I'm almost there.
Yeah.
I have there are some things that happen and I'm like, not so much.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll make it to that point of divine, Anyways, so you were born and raised in Trinidad. How did that sort of influence your journey and give you this perspective on life?
Trinidad is a really beautiful place. Like, I can't even begin to explain. Every time I travel and I go away and I'm like, oh, this place is amazing, maybe I can live here. And then I come back home, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I forgot. Like, it really makes you appreciate home so much. And
yes,
Trinidad is because of our history. Of course, you have African slave trade and indigenous cultures and all European influence in Trinidad as well. Trinidad is a place where you will find everything from Chinese, Asian, Arabic, Lebanese, Indian, African. The majority of our population is African and Indian. Then there's so many other influences, European influences, Arabic, Middle Eastern influences, Asian influences. So it's a really beautiful place where it kind of all comes together,
Yeah, so it sounds like a cultural melting pot.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, exactly that. And of course, you still have, no matter what, you have these tensions in between cultures, and at the bottom of it all, there is this cohesiveness that happens. But at the same time, we are a third world mission. Don't let anyone fool you. That comes with, like anywhere, corruption and a lack of leadership. But we have a lack of leadership in the first world as well. So, like, what's the trade-off, But unlike most Caribbean nations, we never relied too much on tourism because we had oil and gas. So we're very much, I think I could safely say, probably the most industrial island in the Caribbean. So we have a little bit of big city life, industry, but still we have tourism and jungles and waterfalls we got from South America, and then we have the beaches of the Caribbean. Tobago is more where you would go for that kind of beach Caribbean life. But yeah, it has a little bit of everything.
That sounds amazing. So I actually have a few followers who are from Trinidad, and they have posted pictures of, the beaches and those sorts of areas, and they look absolutely amazing. So I definitely have there's someday. And to hear that it's a cultural melting pot, I think would be awesome, just because I really like to kind of immerse myself into different cultures and learn as much as I could. So I feel like I could get a lot from one country, which I feel like is, or one island, I should say, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So what are your favorite things about it?
I am lucky enough to live on the north coast of Trinidad. So there's an amazing North Coast Ridge. I live in a place called Parman, which is not where I grew up, but it is where I've been living now for about 10 years. And I think I don't like to speak too esoterically, but
Right.
some places just have a resonance and a vibration, you know. And I
Hmm.
think in North Coast of Trinidad, our jungles we have in Trinidad. I mean, we were, I'm assuming, once part of South America. I'm pretty sure that's true. So we do have a lot
Hmm.
of that flora and fauna and jungle vibes. And that is one of my favorite things about Trinidad. My other favorite thing
Yes.
about the people of Trinidad is that, sure, they like to bicker a lot, but extremely loving and welcoming people, no matter.
Oh, I love to hear that.
And
Yeah.
yeah, people of Trinidad are very, very special.
Wow. Okay. So real quick, you were talking about jungles. This is probably a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Are there anacondas there? Because that kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Yeah, yeah, they are, but not like South America.
Oh, okay.
Not not
Not
like
as
not
bad.
like
Got it.
Amazon anacondas. I mean, I've seen people find maybe 12 foot, 15 foot, but
Oh,
that's not you're not gonna find that anywhere you're going in Trinidad. I'm pretty sure.
gotcha.
That's like if you're
So I
gonna.
don't have to worry about an anaconda eating me on the street or anything
I
like
don't
that.
think so at all. Trinidad is very much like if you came to Trinidad, it's very much city like, unless you venture
Okay.
out of the city. But
Gotcha.
you could come to Trinidad and do coffee shop, shopping, nightlifing, bars, pubs. And I
Yes.
would
Okay.
say, fortunately and unfortunately, depending on your perspective, a massive part of our culture is drinking. So
Okay.
so our
I
culture,
mean, it's pretty fortunate for me, but
yeah, yeah,
I
it's
can see how it might be unfortunate for some.
yeah, it's very much, because we have Carnival, which I'm sure you've heard of. And
Yes, I've definitely heard about that.
yeah, and it's sure Carnival is 2 days of the year, but the Carnival culture kind of expands way beyond that. So every
Yeah.
weekend or there's always something happening in Trinidad, social, always
That's
something.
awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Carnival, because I know a lot of people haven't necessarily heard of it. And how does it compare to other, Caribbean islands who kind of hold these sorts of festivals?
Yeah. Now I have a disclaimer for you. That is
Okay.
that I'm not a huge Carnival person, but
Nope, that's all right.
I'm
No
gonna
judgments here.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you what I know of it because
Okay.
for my whole life growing up in Trinidad, I've never really drank. I've never really for my
Okay.
friends drink and stuff and party, and I do party by participation, right? So
Gotcha.
carnival for me was never a big thing growing up. I always had somewhat of a resistance to it. And what I'm gonna shed some light on that for you a little bit. What carnival is the 2 days a year, usually in February. It's I believe 40 days before. So you have Ash Wednesday, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Carnival is in Monday and Tuesday before Ash
Oh,
Wednesday,
okay.
right? And at least in Trinidad, I know in different places it could be a different time of year. And there are 2 days where the country shuts down and thousands of people join these carnival bands that put on costumes half naked and going in streets and pretty much party. Right? You have big
Gotcha.
music
Yeah.
tracks that play soca music, which also is my favorite kind of music. So you go and party in the streets and follow these tracks and thousands of people. And it is a really, it's quite a phenomenal experience. It is. I have done it
Yeah.
sober before and I have enjoyed it. It's the energy of the people. So the country shuts down for those 2 days. But
That's awesome.
and of course, there are a series of parties that lead up to those 2 days. So if you're coming to
Right, right, right.
Carnival and you have the time, you would come like 2 weeks before because you have all
Okay.
these parties leading up to Carnival Monday and Tuesday, right?
Right.
You even have parties following Carnival Monday and Tuesday. Good. So,
It's pretty awesome.
but what I would love to share with you that not much people recognize that I recently learned maybe about 5, 10 years ago, and
Okay.
that to
Yeah.
me is where the powers of Carnival really is. And again, I don't know in detail, but I can tell you what I do know, and how Carnival
Mhm.
began was the revolt of slaves. That's the
Oh,
roots
okay.
of Carnival, right? It was, from what I
Yeah.
understand, the slave owners and the people who owned the slave estates, they always had this ball that they would have, I think maybe on Ash Wednesday, I could be wrong.
Mhm.
And the slaves, of course, decided they were invited. And they decided, you know what, we're going to have our own celebration. And we're going to
Right.
revolt. And for these day or 2 days, while these slave owners and estate owners were doing their thing, that the slaves decided we're going to do our thing. And this turned into very much a revolution, a revolt
Mhm.
against what was happening. So at the very basis of carnival, the spirit of revolt against oppression.
Yes.
And
So it
and
does
the,
have a deep meaning to it.
very deep, very deep. And
Very
again,
deep. Yes.
I can't say I know it inside out to speak of that cultural revolution. But
Right.
even
Right.
within our culture of carnival, there's a lot of the origins and representations of that revolt and the icons that have been lost. Because now a lot of people think that
Gotcha.
carnival is just a party in the street. Let's dress up nice, half naked, and have a good time.
Right.
But there's actually so much more to carnival. And
Yeah.
there are a lot of people now trying to bring that back. And I think for anyone who's interested in carnival, I would invite them to go and do some digging. You know,
Yeah. Absolutely.
there's a beautiful festival or beautiful event that happens, I believe, on Carnival Friday, which is the Friday before Carnival. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but Cambule, maybe, I don't know. That I could be wrong.
Hmm.
Something like that. And it happens at like 4 in the morning on Carnival Friday, where people go into the streets and they reenact the uprising of the slaves.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Yeah.
really beautiful to see, really, really beautiful to see.
It
But
sounds like it. Yeah.
if anyone takes anything from this at all, I would invite them to take that. Carnival is so much more than just a party and a good time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
No, I'm
not a
so glad you
revolution.
honestly shared it.
Yeah, yeah,
I had no idea myself. I mean, I'm a dumb American. We don't really know what's going on in the rest of the world. So being able to like wrap my brain around the origins of that
yeah.
is honestly that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Or
It's
don't
it's
feel
eye
bad.
opening for sure.
Yeah,
No,
so
I
many people in Trinidad
right.
don't even know that. So
Yeah,
many
that's
people in
crazy.
Trinidad don't even know that. You know?
I can see
Yeah,
that. I know there's a few other holidays that we celebrate that don't necessarily have the best origins
yeah,
and but learning that is key to being able to prevent that from happening again and all of that sort of thing too. So that's
yeah,
definitely a yeah. Wow, I had no idea. Yeah, okay. So moving on. I don't even know where to go from that. That's so cool. Like it's
yeah,
not cool. I shouldn't say that. The origin story of it is not it's terrible that it happened the way that it did, but I'm glad that it was able to kind of birth this this celebration and this festival and that
yeah,
it's not really holding us back anymore and y'all are moving forward and that sort of thing. So it's kind
yeah,
of turning
yeah,
tragedy into like
yeah.
beauty in a
Well,
way, so to speak.
it's
Uh,
history, you know. We can't deny history.
right.
Um,
You can't run from it. It's there.
and I also
Uh,
don't think
yeah.
we should pretend it never happened. I believe that
Right. You have
there
to learn from it.
immense lessons in it that I think we have to note and celebrate the struggle and celebrate the pain and celebrate all the mistakes. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. Okay, so are there any like unique traditions and customs that may have like a better origin story, or maybe something that you could share with us that I don't know, end it on a happy note a little bit.
Well, put it this way. One of the beautiful things about Trinidad is
Uh-huh.
because we have so many cultures. I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure I've always heard this said. I don't know if it's true. I've heard it said that we have more public holidays than any other nation in the world.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And that's because, and this is what I'm about to share with you, it's like we celebrate Eid, a Islamic holiday. We celebrate Diwali,
Okay.
a Hindu holiday. Nationally, like now it's national holidays. We celebrate Christmas, and then we have
Okay.
Indian Arrival Day, we have Emancipation Day, we have this tomorrow we have Independence Day. One of the beautiful things about Trinidad is you have all these cultures that are represented and celebrated,
Yes,
and
that is pretty amazing.
that as much as I have to be honest, as a business owner, these public holidays are pain in the ass because it
I
means,
love it.
yeah, it means that
So honest.
there's no consistency in our culture, right? Because there's
Right.
always a holiday
Hmm.
and there's always a celebration and there's always a break of routine. And it's like, holy shit,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's so beautiful that collectively we can celebrate all of these beautiful people and cultures and holidays.
That's so cool. I'm trying to think of if there's any. There really isn't any other countries that are really that accepting as of so many different cultures. So the fact that you are and you're so like not necessarily tiny, but maybe in comparison to like the United States or something like
Yeah,
that, for you to all live so cohesively, I feel is huge.
yeah.
I love that.
Now, don't get me wrong, Novia. There is an element of undertone biases and cultural biases and racial
Right.
biases, especially in a political forum,
Well, you're
right?
gonna get that no matter where you go.
Yeah,
Right.
but I think beyond that, like there's really a cohesiveness. Sometimes our identities get in the way.
I could
Yeah.
see that too. So tell us a little bit about yoga and how you've sort of brought that into your life. And I know yoga is not necessarily like exercise and that sort of thing, but it's also a mindset. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yoga found me so interesting. It's an interesting story. Yoga found me at 14 years old, but I
Okay.
didn't start. And at 21 years old, I came back from university and I said, I knew I was going to be a yoga teacher, but I hadn't practiced yoga before. I just knew I was going to be a yoga teacher. And I actually didn't start practicing till about 24, 25. And then I
Okay.
became a teacher at about 26. And now I'm about 15 years and change. I'm still teaching yoga internationally as well. And I am on a
That's so
platform called
cool.
Gaia.com that some people might be familiar with. For me, what yoga is, I was saying in a class today, sure, people think of yoga as postures and exercise. And then some people would say, all right, there's so much more to yoga. There's these texts and these guidelines as to how we live our life, and it's very much a spiritual practice, and it is. In the Western world, even with regards to what we would call asana or postures, and what someone might call the exercise filter of yoga, even within that, when yoga is practiced with intention, what it really is, it's a mind practice and it's a breath practice. It's a practice of
Absolutely.
cultivating, how I would see it, is cultivating this relationship with our mind and our breath that creates a space in which we can allow spirit to come through. Whatever anyone's understanding of God or spirit is, I don't believe yoga is a religious practice. I believe it's a spiritual practice, which means that anyone
Okay.
can make it their practice according to their
Right.
relationship to God, right? And I think that when we cultivate this relationship to mind, is when it allows us to really deepen our relationship to our understanding of God. And it begins to impact how we live our lives. Because the mind is
Absolutely.
very ego driven, mind is very individual driven. And when we create a relationship to mind, it allows us to sage something greater than ourselves in our daily lives.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually interviewed another yoga teacher. She was in St. Kitts, and yeah, she had kind of the same mindset. That it like it grounds you. The practice itself will bring you down to earth. Kind of teach you, what's important, what's not important, that sort of thing. And I've always wanted to get into that mindset
Yeah.
and to kind of be able to live my life that way because it seems like it's you're not really holding on to as much stress. You're letting go of a lot of things more easily, I should say,
Yeah.
than some others. So I really want to kind of deepen in that. So if I were to, you said you were on, what channel was it?
I'm on Gaia.com, Gaia.com. It's like
Gaia.com.
a
Okay.
Netflix of yoga, meditation, and alternative beliefs.
Okay.
But we also
So I can
have,
actually follow you there.
yeah, you can visit. If you look, I have
Okay.
a link
Yeah.
in my Instagram bio, Big 7 means free.
That's awesome.
But you can also go to beyondyogatv.com, like beyond.
Okay.
And that is our online platform for yoga studio in Trinidad. So if
Oh, okay.
you get 30 days free there as well, and that way you could actually join our live classes from Trinidad, and you could access
That's
our
so cool.
content library there as well.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
So if I were to ever travel to Trinidad, do you have like live classes that like anybody can
yeah,
join, or
yeah,
is it
yeah.
only for people that live there? Okay.
No, you can
Yeah.
come in our studio and walk in our studio and do yoga
Okay.
anytime you like.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. Yeah, that's so exciting. Yoga is definitely like at one point in time I tried like, oh, I can't even remember, Tony Horton. He did like P90X or something like
Yeah,
that.
very
I tried
different.
his yoga. Yes, yes, yes. And it was so hard. And I'm like, I just don't even know if this is right for me. But I have seen like the actual yoga
Yeah,
and not like the try to like kill yourself type yoga.
yeah.
So I definitely want to start getting into more of that, just being able to like meditate and that sort of thing. What would be your best advice for somebody who has never meditated before, who wants to start to bring that piece into their lives?
Oh, sure. I have a little chapter in my book on that.
Yeah.
What I would recommend is just sit. You know, it's really simple. We think meditation is this big hard thing, and there are many techniques to meditation. But
Hmm.
what I would recommend for someone or advise is for them just to sit, put your phone away, set your timer. First thing first,
Okay.
set your timer for say 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Put your phone on silent or turn it on airplane mode. Put it aside. And all
Okay.
you do is sit and get comfortable, right? I would always say, sit on a chair first. Sit on a chair, sit up tall, close your eyes, and just look. Just look. And look at the mind. Look, maybe follow your breath. You're going to lose your breath probably a million times in 5 minutes. Just
Mhm.
keep coming back to the breath. And as the mind runs away, just acknowledge where the mind is at, what the mind is doing, and just come back to the breath. Don't feel like you're supposed to empty your mind. You can't. Your mind's natural state is to create.
Okay.
Your mind will
Yes.
create,
That's the
right?
part I struggle with. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's no way I just, my brain is going 100 miles an hour every single minute. So how is it possible to empty all those thoughts?
Good. So here's an analogy I love to use. Think of your mind as your lover. This is your partner
Okay.
in life for eternity. There's no separation or divorce. You and
Very
your
true.
mind, but even so, it's not two partners, it's three partners because it's you, your mind, and your breath. Three of
Oh,
you.
so we're doing like a menage a trois.
Yeah, right? No separation or divorce. But think of it
Okay.
this way.
It's true.
If you want your house or your relationship to be loving and understanding and compassionate and full of peace, one thing that is essential in any relationship is intimacy. And I'm not
Okay.
talking about
Yep.
physical intimacy. I'm talking about spending time together. Just spending
Hmm.
time together. But we don't do that. For most people, sitting with their mind is the scariest place to be. All
Yes,
I'm telling
absolutely.
you, put your phone away, turn Netflix off, close the book. Just sit with your mind and your breath 5 to 10 minutes a day. And think of it like this. Imagine that you had a partner who never listened to anything you said and never spent any time together. You would have to scream and shout to get their attention. That's what our
Hmm.
mind has been doing for most of us. It's overactive, it's reactive, it's loud, it's boisterous, it's in your face, it's manipulating us at any or every opportunity. The more you
Yeah.
start to sit with your mind, the more you just sit with your mind, is in less it has to scream and shout
Hmm.
because you begin.
That's a really good way to look at
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
it's like a child who's neglected. If you neglect a child or a partner, they do anything to get your attention, right? They'll
Hmm.
pinch you, they'll punch you, they'll scream at you, they'll throw you down.
Right.
But if you just give your partner some attention, some of your time, then they no longer need to act out to get your attention. And it's the same thing with the
Yeah.
mind and the breath. All we need to do is spend
Okay.
time. Just spend time. That's what I
Yeah,
say.
love yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you can't love others unless you create this relationship with yourself, you know?
That is very true.
Yeah,
I'm a firm advocate of, you have to fill your own cup before you can give to other people.
yeah,
But then I'm never that person that fills my own cup.
yeah,
I leave it empty and I just tap it out constantly,
yeah,
knowing that I need to give more to myself and my mind and that sort of thing. So
yeah,
I hit 40 and I've decided, hey, it's probably time for me to start, taking that seriously, giving myself a
yeah,
little bit more love, self-care, that sort of thing. So that's kind of where I'm at, and it's easier too because both of my kids are now adults. So
yeah,
now that they're out of the house, mom's not focused on, their wants, their needs, and
yeah,
fulfilling all
yeah,
of that. I can actually oh, wait, I could do this for myself now. This is kind of weird, but
yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great mindset to take away from. So you told me at the beginning that you do love to travel. So where do you kind of find yourself traveling to? Since you live on the beach, do you try to look for like mountainous areas or
Well,
how does that work?
I actually live in a mountain,
Oh, you
but
live in the mountains.
it's a
Okay.
mountain on the coast,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I
Oh,
kind of
so you got the best of both
best of
worlds.
both worlds, yeah. Um,
Yes.
so I love to travel, and I used to travel. I've done a lot of traveling in my life, especially
Mm-hmm.
early on in my 20s. But now, like recently, when I travel, it's more like I travel with purpose. I'll
Okay.
travel to teach somewhere, to share somewhere, to speak somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Sightseeing and stuff doesn't really appeal to me at the moment unless I'm doing it with someone, and sharing that experience with them. What I love is I love meeting people. Like for me,
Okay.
I could travel to a new place and go to 4 coffee shops and we and just sit and talk to people and write a little bit.
I love that.
New people for me is where it's at, you know. But it's so funny because I love where I live so much and where I live is so special to me that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the time when I'm traveling, I would look on Airbnb for places to stay and so on. And you always want to look for somewhere that's kind of nicer for than where you live, and it's really
Right.
hard for me to find.
Oh, I love that.
Eh,
That's a great story.
yeah, especially on my budget. It's
I get that too.
yeah, it's hard for me to find, and it points to me how lucky and blessed I am to live where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
So one thing I don't think I asked, and this is kind of crazy because this is like usually my very first question. What's the food like
Oh,
there?
phenomenal. That could be a
Am
whole
I gonna
series.
like fall in love with the food more than the island,
Yeah,
or is the
yeah,
island gonna be like
yeah.
overwhelming? So
I mean,
basically, I'm moving down there, is what you're telling me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, so
Got it.
think of it. You have all these cultures coming together,
Uh huh.
all with their own
Yeah.
culinary input and infusion. So they
Oh my
all have
goodness.
their own food. You have Indian food, you have Chinese food, you have Arabic food, you have Lebanese food, you have all of it, right? But
Uh
then
huh.
you also have all of it finding meshes with it. They mesh into one another to create something new, right? So like we don't just have
Okay.
Indian food, we have Western, which is like
Okay.
a blend of, I guess, a blend of Creole and Indian and colors and all of it. And you get all of this really, yeah, you have very unique food in Trinidad that you probably won't find anywhere else unless it's coming
Gotcha.
through a West Indian or Trinidadian influence.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I love food. So, I know a lot of like islands will have like a national dish, or some sort of thing like that. Is it something you guys have, or no, because it's
Um,
so culturally
I think
different?
if I thought of a national food, two things come to mind really quick. There's something called
Okay.
doubles, which is
Okay.
like, it's more West Indian. Where imagine you had two very thin, deep fried pieces of bread,
Oh,
and in the
okay.
middle of them, it's like this curry chana masala mixed up with mango and chutney, and it's very messy to eat. So we have bread, chana, bread, wrap, eat,
Oh my God, it sounds so good though.
But then, yeah, it's amusing. And then our other main dish would be shark and bake, which again is still fried pieces of dough with fried shark or fish in it. And then you'll have like,
Really? So you guys eat shark? Okay.
yeah, we eat shark.
How is shark different from, like, how does it taste compared to like fish or chicken? Is it more chickeny?
I haven't eaten chicken since I was 17,
Oh,
so I can't really,
okay.
but I would say it's a little tougher than fish,
Okay.
but
Gotcha. So it's a little more meaty,
a
kind
little
of like a
bit more
tuna,
meaty.
like a
Yeah,
tuna steak.
yeah, but not, it's somewhere
Okay.
in between. No?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. I've always wanted to try that. I don't know if you know this, but I am deathly afraid of sharks. So like even the thought of eating them kind of freaks me out.
They might come
But I
back and
hear that
get you.
it's like I know
Yeah,
it's dead
yeah,
already, but I'm still scared of
yeah.
it.
And of course it is, I do personally believe in preservation of sharks. So I know
Right.
environmentally it's not the greatest thing for us to be eating sharks.
Right.
Sometimes it'll be called shark and bait, but we might actually get fish instead of shark. But
Oh, okay.
but
Tricky,
it's
tricky.
just the
Got
idea.
it.
Either way, this sandwich is phenomenal.
Okay.
Phenomenal. And the best part is
Sounds
that
good.
you get to dress it with all these local dressings and shadow benny and pepper and garlic sauce and really good
Oh
stuff.
gosh. Garlic is like one of my absolute favorites. My husband and I eat it on basically everything. And I'm talking like spoonfuls of garlic.
Yeah.
Probably way too much, but it is definitely one of my favorite flavors. So that's awesome.
You could go on YouTube, Trinidadian cuisine. I'm sure we'll get.
I like you're convincing me. Like I already had it on my list. I'm not kidding you, but now I'm like, maybe I need to move this a little bit closer to just so that I could eat there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the food sounds amazing.
Where you at, B? Where you at in you?
I am located out of St. Louis, Missouri. So I'm like in the dead center of the United States. And I mean, we do have some pretty great food here. We've got toasted ravioli. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. But it's basically like a normal ravioli stuffed with meat, but we actually fry it and throw a little bit of like sauce on it, marinara sauce. It's so good. And then gooey butter cake is another one that we're pretty famous for. And it's basically just like goo. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just this buttery, gooey cake that is just, it like melts in your mouth and it's so good. It's covered with powdered sugar. So bad for you. But if you've never tried it, I definitely would say it's worth it. A lot of people say that they actually come to St. Louis just for the food, which I find interesting because I've grown up with it. So it's not really that exciting for me, but I get it though.
What I was going to say as well is I'm pretty sure you guys must have a Caribbean restaurant there some.
I don't even know.
Go look it up. Go look it up. You must.
I'll have
Go
to.
look it up.
So my husband and I are actually talking about moving to Georgia here soon. So, and actually one of the houses that we were looking at has like a little Caribbean restaurant right down the street from it. I was like, this is the one. This one right here is the one.
Yeah.
Because I love like every Caribbean island that I've been down there to has its own unique flavors and it's amazing how different they all are. And the food is just, I mean, like the best banana I had in my life was in Puerto Rico. And it, just because we don't get like the super fresh stuff up here. There's not a lot. I mean, there's farms and that sort of thing, but it's more processed foods and that, I mean, we're in America, so that's just how it works. But yeah, so like eating like the fresh fruits directly off trees and that sort of thing, we kind of take advantage or, we take for granted because we don't really have that opportunity here. So best banana of my life. Best pineapple I think I've ever had was from Tahiti. Just throwing that out there. So, but I guarantee you that the way you've described Trinidad anyways, it sounds like there's some pretty amazing thing. And I bet the fruit is super fresh. Is there a lot of like farming and that sort of thing and organic living?
Unfortunately not. There is farming, but you see, we used to have a lot more agriculture. But I guess like
gotcha.
Because we have oil and gas, and as the new generation came up, people are less interested in farming and doesn't pay.
That makes sense.
So there's still farming, but in my opinion, not on the level where it should.
Gotcha. Yeah, I kind of agree with that here too. There's not a lot of like you can get there's a couple restaurants and a couple of grocery stores around here where you can get organic food, but for the most part, if you're not growing it yourself, you're probably not going to get the freshest. So that's kind of a bummer, but that's one of the reasons why I want to move to Georgia, so that we can have a little bitty farm, and I can, maybe not necessarily a farm, but definitely a garden, so I can grow some tomatoes and all that good stuff. Eat a nice fresh salad every now and then.
Yeah.
It'd be great. So do you have any like funny or interesting stories from your travels that you want to share with everybody? Is there any story that is like kind of jumps out to you that you think is hilarious?
The only story that comes to mind is definitely not funny.
Oh, okay.
But it is a moving story for me, and I tell
Okay.
this story in my book. It's a story of my first trip to India, and I went to
Okay.
Calcutta. I'm trying to make it quick, and I was on a group trip, right? So we were staying in a comfortable hotel in the middle of Calcutta slums, and we would go on our tours and outings and so on. And we remember one afternoon coming back to the hotel, and we were walking through the street, and I saw this little kid, and like a lot of kids in India, a lot of street kids and a lot of poverty, especially in Calcutta. And he came up and he was like, "Can you buy me a Kit Kat? Buy me a Kit Kat? Buy me a Kit Kat?" I was like, "A Kit Kat?"
Mm.
He's like, yeah, Kit Kat. And he pointed to this vendor across the road that had all these Kit Kats in front of his store. And so I looked at Kit Kat, and I looked back to him, and I realized that he only had one eye. And
Aw.
so he clearly hadn't received the care it needed, and he hadn't healed properly, but by no means was it fresh. And I was like, all right, cool. So I buy him a Kit Kat, and I thought that would be it. But he proceeds to want to walk me and my friends back to our hotel. And so I'm like, cool. And I figured, well, maybe he wanted something else along the way. And as he walked us back to our hotel, he opened his Kit Kat, and before he took a piece of it, he offered all of us, about 6 of us, offered us all a piece of his Kit Kat before he even took one himself.
Aw.
And he escorted us back to our hotel, dodged it, pointed out potholes and water, and told us where to go and how to pass. And he wanted nothing else from us. All he wanted was our company. And
Aw.
and when he parted, he bowed and did pranam, and he said thank you. And just that little exchange from that little kid who probably didn't know where his next meal was coming from, probably didn't know where he would sleep that night, but still took his time to offer everyone else a piece of his chocolate before he had one, and took his time out of his day to escort us to our hotel. That was really beautiful and moving. It was a reminder of what kindness
Yeah.
and compassion is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's still good people in the world, even when they're struggling, they're still able to give to others. I love that. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. So you've mentioned your book a couple of times. Tell us a little bit about your book. What's the name of it? And I'm assuming it's about your life.
It's called My Name is Love. It looks like this.
Yes, love it. Okay.
And I wouldn't say it's really about my life.
Okay.
It's kind of a blend of. It's more about how we get our head out of our ass and remember what it is.
Oh,
Love one.
perfect. There's so
Right?
many people that need to
Yeah.
read that then.
So it really helps us connect some dots. So I do share stories from my life. I do
Okay.
share a lot of teachings and philosophies and perspectives about the human experience. And I also invite you, reader, to by putting my own life in the book and my own examples of failures and triumphs, and shortcomings. I ask you, reader, to reflect on what I feel like in the world today. There's a lot of posting bits on social media, reading this book and talking about this and talking about that, but we're not really integrating these teachings and philosophies into our lives.
Absolutely.
I feel like there needs to be a lot more of that, and that's what I hope this book helps the reader do.
Love it. That's great. I love when people are trying to bring somebody or others together, and I feel like that's kind of like your life mission, and I really appreciate that. I think that's amazing. So
Yeah.
thank you for being so awesome, Troy. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for
Um,
having me.
yeah, no. So real quick, where can we find your book at? And your socials and all of that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, of course, my book's on Amazon, and the audiobook comes
Okay.
out next month, in October.
Oh, yay!
I'm reading it myself, so if you like, I'm excellent. Check it out.
That's awesome. Yep,
Yeah.
I'll wait for the audiobook. I can't wait. You'll put me to sleep at night. Your voice is so soothing.
On Amazon, and you could
Okay.
find me at troyhadeed.com.
Okay.
My Instagram is Troy Hadeed, and I'm most active on Instagram. It's my social platform of
Okay.
choice. I'm also on TikTok.
Awesome.
And on troyhadeed.com, you also see a really cool clothing line that just released. It's called reidentifyalslove.com.
Oh, beautiful.
And you could also get my book there as well if you want to support that.
That's so cool. Thank you so much, Troy. Real quick, I always end with this question. What does paradise mean to you?
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful question.
I know. It's a hard question, but I love the answers that I get from it. Yes.
Oh my gosh, makes me want to cry to think of my answer that this could actually happen one. Paradise to me is every human being and all of creation living together in the realm of God, sitting in the lap of God and remembering who we are, how connected we are, and that we are all part of this one beautiful divine creation, and that these bodies that separate us are just temporary states of being. And I would love to see a world, my paradise would be, where we could all coexist in that space.
Yeah, that one gave me goosebumps for real. That's why I end on that question, because it's a great one. I actually kind of teared up a little bit too, thinking about that. I agree that would be the most perfect, I think, a paradise that any of us could ever experience. So definitely we'll manifest that as much as we can and make that happen.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate talking to you. I had a great time. I learned a lot about Trinidad. Your way of life, your thoughts, your mindset is just amazing to me. I definitely envy that. So I've taken away a lot from this conversation. I appreciate it. So we'll definitely keep in touch. Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm ever in the Trinidad area, which I hope is soon, I will definitely come hang out with you in your yoga studio for a little bit.
I won't cook for you, but I will gladly take you for food.
Okay, sounds good.
You're better off that way, I promise.
You just can't make fun of me when I can't get into those poses.
Okay, true.
Awesome.
All right,
Talk to you soon. Have a great one.
Well,
thanks.
Bye.
Hey there, beach lovers. That's it for today's episode of Beachside Banter with B. I sure hope you had as much fun as I did. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. You can catch me on all social media platforms at Life, Love, and Travel. And if you've got a question or you just want to stop by and say hi, feel free to slide into my DMs and I'll make sure to get those answered for you. Big thanks to everyone who joined me today and for all of you who tuned in. And until next time, enjoy your week.